Hello, this is Jay Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts in Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. So first we have case brought to Supreme Court by herring fishermen may gut federal rulemaking power from was posted by Zachness, and it's from NPR.org. And yeah, I think that's good. I think that the more we got federal rulemaking power, I think the better off we are. That's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have affluent Chinese have been moving to Japan since the COVID lockdowns from NPR.org, also from Zachness. And I said, reminded me of this, and I linked to a Family Guy clip of the Chinese among the Japanese. It was a cutaway. It was the Japanese in the office, and they said, "Oh, we might have Chinese among us." And then there's the one Chinese guy who's like, "Oh, he's got his hat on with his ox." So the Chinese guy was just an edgy family cutaway joke. Everyone got really offended though, because that's the woke moralist for you. They get really offended by everything. Then we have our Libertarian Uncensored. Our Libertarian Uncensored discusses and grades the U.S. Vice President's number 5, Elbridge Gerry. And I said, John Langdon was initially offered the VP slot for James Madison's second term, but turned it down, so Gerry was selected instead. Apparently, he didn't really do so much, but did seek the arrest of printers of Federalist newspapers during the War of 1812, which was when he was VP during, so I definitely have to dock some points for that, since I support freedom of the press. Otherwise, he only lasted 20 months in office before becoming the second VP to die as an incumbent. Final grade C-. Thoughts? Then we have one of you, social media. Utah wants you to hand over your ID from Reason.com, and I posted that, and I said, Nikki Haley as well. She wants you to hand over your ID as well. Soon we might not have online anonymity anymore, and we might have social credit scores and all that, and I don't think that's very libertarian. I think, we need a free and open internet, and that includes people, if they want to post anonymously, I think they should be able to, and yeah, that's what I think about that issue. Then we have in their agenda, crime is legal, but self-defense is a crime. That's why they went so hard after this. This is Kyle R. From Michael Mouse on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, not 100% true. Self-defense is only a crime if you do it for reasons that go against the official narrative. They're completely fine with self-defense if the narrative says it's okay. That is the cardinal rule of politics. It's like Simon Says, only it's the narrative says. That's my thought about that issue. I personally don't think Kyle Rittenhouse should have been in Kenosha that day, but he did have a right to self-defense, since it was caught on tape that they were charging at him, and he did have a right to self-defense. Then we have, I'm old enough to remember when woke meant you didn't trust the government or corporate press, and instead you got your news from the internet, and the mainstream called fake news from being libertarian on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, I missed the Occupy Wall Street left. They realized the system was BS and that it was rigged against the common, just like the Tea Party. That's why they use stuff like BLM and Trump to separate the two classes that share a lot of the same grievances in regards to the elites. And that's, I miss when the woke, they used to, a lot of people who now are woke used to not like the government or the mainstream media, but now they love them because that's what the narrative is. And the narrative says that they're good because they say what they want to hear, and I don't think that's very good. You always gotta question those in positions of authority, like the government and the alphabet media, as I like to call them, because they're increasingly becoming unmainstream. They're just a bunch of alphabet letters now, and like NBC or CBS, yeah. That's why I think about that. Then we have 2002 APS presidential address, Roderick T. Long from Praxeology.net by Anarcho Federation. And they added, the problem is this, why does justice have good consequences? Long's ruminations on philosophy of justice and ethics, particularly contradictory speculations of deontological and consequentialist notions, and how to resolve the issue of Austrian praxeology, which Long believes is the answer. And I don't really know too much about Austrian praxeology, but yeah, if he wants to think that's the answer, I think he should be able to. And yeah, I guess that I think that's cool. Then we have who is more consistent supporter of Ukraine, America's Biden, or you use von der Leyen. And that's a self-post from PaperBig1409 who said, ChatGPT / Copilot that tells that von der Leyen is more active and consistent supporter of Ukraine. And I said, Biden, when he isn't also being up Israel's ass. So that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have more authoritarian overreach. Republicans want schools to call animal control on furry students from Vice.com by Patan Furchan. And I said, modern journalism is finding something stupid or Republican somewhere says milking the hell out of it. Democrats can propose stupid legislation too, but the suburb don't care. And I linked to a legislation from 2021 in Pennsylvania from Representative Chris Robb. He's a Democrat, and he said, "Oh, we need to we need to require all inseminators to undergo vasectomies within 6 weeks from having their third child or 40th birthday, whichever comes first." And yeah, I personally don't think that's probably not going to pass either. Like, this isn't going to pass. But, it's just simply the rage bait of the week. Everyone needs some rage bait every week, and this is just simply the rage bait of this week, I think. Then we have connecting researchers and legislators can lead to policies that reflect scientific evidence from theconversation.com. And, I said, follow the science, but only the studies I agree with. The point I'm getting at is that we shouldn't be using the state to enforce certain scientific worldviews. Look at all the authoritarianism that ended up testifying during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then we have our Libertarian Uncensored discusses and grades the U.S. Vice Presidents, number 6, Daniel D. Tompkins. James Monroe's VP, not John Quincy Adams' VP, as Miracle on 34th Street would have you believe. Tompkins is one of only 5 vice presidents in U.S. history who have served 2 full terms and never became the president. The others are Thomas R. Marshall, John Nance Garner, Al Gore, and Dick Cheney. He was governor of New York and also campaigned for that position during his vice presidency, but lost narrowly. Otherwise, there is very little of note on him. Apparently, he promoted select conscription as governor of New York, and he spent most of his vice presidency outside Washington, D.C., being in ill health and also being an alcoholic. He died a few months after leaving off stage, making him our shortest-lived vice president, final grade C. So, yeah, I definitely don't think he's one of the more influential vice presidents or general politicians in American history, but, yeah, it's good that he could serve his full 2 terms and then just, I'm sorry he had to die so young, but that's just how it was back then, I guess, in the mid-20s, I guess. Then we have Tyranny from Clorox, and that's a cross post from the, Damn That's Interesting subreddit, People's Reaction to DUI Law from 1980. And I guess they thought the DUI law was tyranny. And if you want to think the DUI law is tyranny, I guess you could be able to. I think that's fine. But I do think you do have an argument that's considered could be a NAP violation since it could be considered inherently aggressive, and that's not something that I would personally care for. But I guess if you want to do it and don't hurt anyone else, I guess you should be able to. But I think it might be inherently leads to hurting someone else. So that's my fault on that issue. Then we have North Korea. Rare footage shows teens sentenced to hard labor over K-drama from bbc.co.uk. And that's from Flimsy Owl 5563. And they said 2 North Korean 16-year-old boys sentenced to 12 years or labor for watching South Korean soap operas, a crime that carries a potential death sentence. And then Clorox said, a certain presidential candidate admires North Korea's dictatorship and linked to his article from The Independent that said, Trump, Kim Jong-un, North Korea, it says, Trump praised North Korea's dictator's great and beautiful vision for his country. And then Dr. Who 07 said, we definitely need to find a way to make this story about Trump. Glad we didn't bother to mention anything about North Korea directly, just to flex straight to Trump. Love it. And I added, welcome to Reddit. Enjoy your says. Pretty much all Reddit is for you. It's all orange man bad constantly. Or GOP bad. That's pretty much all it is. Then we have Escaping Surveillance Capitalism at Scale from ergaster.org by Frosty Slawman, and I didn't say anything on that one, but I do think that surveillance is increasingly by big business and big government, and those are conjoined, I would say, and that's why I don't care for either of them. So that's my thought on that issue. Then we have Javier Milei tells world leaders the state is not the solution from Reason.com, and I posted that and I said the solution is self-sufficiency and voluntary collectives instead of forced ones. People form collectives voluntarily all the time and no one bats an eye. If people want to form a conservative collective or a libertarian collective or progressive collective or any other ideological collective, I personally think it would make a lot more sense than everyone constantly fighting over who controls the one force collective that we have currently. Politics as it is now is nothing but grifting, which is why I want to end it and replace it with this new system as soon as possible. Then we have the Libertarian Case Against Intellectual Property Rights from FreeNation.org. And it's from Anarcho Federation, and they said when libertarians of the first work come across a purported intellectual property right, they see one more instance of an individual's right claim to their proclaims the product of their labor. When libertarians of the second work come across a purported intellectual property right, they see one more instance of undeserved monopoly privilege granted by government. And I personally would fall more into the latter. I think proper intellectual property, it's just, if it's not physical property and you can't defend it, I think, it's just, everyone should be able to do whatever they want with it. So that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Justin Amash for Senate Exploratory Committee launched from my title from Neater.net by Dr. Who 07. And yeah, I don't know if he's running it with the GOP, but I don't know. I hope, I have to agree that, he's probably not. I don't know if he'll win because his vocal opposition to Trump vote for impeachment might not win the primary. So hopefully he can overcome that. So that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Good Job Protesters, and that's from Reason TV's YouTube channel, and they're about Spike Incrementi, and that's how the pro-Palestine protesters were blocking the street and blocking traffic, and I said it wouldn't be the modern left if it wasn't as alienating it to people as possible. Then we have Cottage Food sellers battling in Virginia over regulations from WRIC.com by Ninja Lover, and I said the government should not be regulating food at all. People like Amos Miller should be able to consensually sell whatever they want without fear of repercussion, So that's my thoughts on that issue, if you want to drink raw milk, I don't think you should, you have to be aware that might be dangerous, but you should be able to, and I don't think the state should be regulating Amish or cottage food in the Amish or cottage food industry. Or the restaurant industry, or any other food-related industry for that matter. Then we have r/Libertarian Uncensored discusses and grades the U.S. Vice President's number 7, John C. Calhoun, and I said the second and most recent VP to serve more than one term, under more than one president, serving under John Quincy Adams and the majority of Andrew Jackson's first term, and the first of two to resign the office, ever being Spiro Agnew. Calhoun also had the record for most tie-breaking votes as president of the Senate with 31 until Kamala Harris surpassed it in 2023. Calhoun is definitely one of the more interesting VPs to look at, especially when it comes to his role in the nullification crisis. Now he wanted his home state of South Carolina to be able to nullify the federal tariffs of 1828 and 1832, the former, of course, being the famous Tariff of Abominations. As Andrew Jackson noticed, the tariff was only a pretext, and disunion and sovereign confederacy the real object. The next pretext will be the Negro or slavery question. Indeed, Calhoun was probably one of those people who pushed the rhetoric that eventually led to secession and civil war the most, but I argue that in his favor, it is libertarian support smaller governments or over bigger governments, and if people want to secede, I think they should be able to do so. Of course, you can't talk about Calhoun without knowing that he was one of the biggest supporters of slavery, even for the time, arguing that was a positive good rather than necessary evil, so that is definitely going to hurt his grade from a libertarian perspective. Final grade, C-. Faults. And I also added, even excusing for slavery, a lot of Calhoun's support for nullification and states' rights came from a place of personal ambition rather than the love for liberty. He seemed to rather want to reign in South Carolina than serve in the United States, as James Parton wrote in 1860. Still, even if he didn't support them for what I deemed to be the correct reasons, at the very least he supported them. Sometimes people are going to support the right things for the wrong reasons. You just have to accept that. Then we have American Anarchist Puzzle number 25 from Reason.com. and I posted that, and I said that was the reasons crossword puzzle of the week, and I said 4 minutes 25 seconds. I think that might be the new best for me, so that's my thoughts on that. Then we have Oklahoma bill could label Hispanic gangs as terrorists in effort to curb fentanyl smuggling from Oklahoman.com by Clorox. And I definitely don't think, I think terrorists, I don't think the government should be labeling any people as terrorists. That's my thoughts on that issue. I think it's kind of kind of a, just government, when the government can just label anyone they don't want like a terrorist, and they can see that doing it here. Then we have Oklahoma State Senator offers bill to limit freedom of the press from Kosu.org. And it's from Legio.x, and they said the bill would also require them to file a license from the Oklahoma Corporation Commission, obtain $1 million in liability insurance, and attend an 8-hour propaganda-free safety training developed by Rio. These outlets will also be required to provide the following disclaimer before each story or throughout any video, warning this entity is known to provide propaganda. Consuming propaganda may be detrimental to your health and health of the the Republic. I said that's stupid. I agree a lot of our media is propaganda, but the state should force them to say so. Also, the suburb really feels like it's becoming r/Oklahoma bad over the last couple of days. So that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have great moments and unintended consequences. Coin mail, fertilizer brand Hawaiian Mongoose Volume 14 from Reason TV, and I posted that, and I said I didn't comment on that one, but yeah, it just goes to show you that good intentions always don't always equal good results, and that's a very, very libertarian notion to have. I think you always got to be aware that it's people can be well intentioned, but not have the best results from their policy. Then we need to arm the LGBTQIA plus community, also not to mention the Republicans love gun control as long as the gun control applies to transgender people and not them. From Air Silver One, and that's a tweet from Aaron Reed. He said, Elon Musk just boosted a hoax picture of a person who was mistakenly identified as the Uvalde shooter and used to claim that the Uvalde shooter was trans. His purpose was actually trying to build hate toward the trans community with outright lies. So I think, I agree. Ultimately, I think everyone has the right to self-defense, and that definitely includes the LGBTQIA plus community or whatever letters you want to use. I guess I'm personally just to use LGBTQ, but if you want to use just LGB or LGBTQ, or whatever, I guess that's on you. And so that's my thoughts on that issue. We need support self-defense for everyone, and I think that will be it for me, and I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.